have to be thankful all the time, but there is always something to be thankful for. Welcome back to the Happiness and Progress podcast. I am your host, Danielle Craig. I'm an Emmy Award-winning journalist, a mom, wife, and you know what I like to say, just a person looking for more joy in the everyday. This podcast is brought to you by the Mail Tribune. You can find more podcasts at mailtribune.com. And today, I want to talk about being grateful. I did a presentation not long ago, and one of the questions I got at the end was, should I always be thankful? Do I always have to be thankful? And I think I kind of shocked the audience, and this is going to be a little bit maybe controversial. My answer was no. I said, no, I don't think you have to be grateful all of the time. And here's why. First of all, I don't want to should on you, right? You've heard that before. It's supposed to sound exactly what it sounds like. I don't think I can sit here in my cute little teal chair and say, yeah, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, because I don't know the exact circumstances of your life. You're the one living in your life. You know what's happening in your life. And I think that jumping to you should do this, you should do that is just not the right way to go about life. I don't think that's my approach. So I said, no, I don't think you should always be thankful. I think that it's very easy, depending on where you are in life, to not be able to bring in the gratitude. Earlier on in that same presentation I was giving, somebody had written in, it was virtual. So somebody had written in, pretty hard to be grateful when you've just lost your husband. And my heart just sinks to my stomach. I know I can't even imagine. And there are so many hard things that we go through in life where it can be really when you're in that deep hole and you're whether that's just losing a husband or a pregnancy or a relationship or a job or getting out into the public. We've all been living in this pandemic. I know what that feels like. And it can be hard to get up and say, okay, time to be grateful. I am going through the worst day of my life and I'm just going to be grateful. And so that can be really, really hard. So number one, I'm never going to shit on you for something and say, you should be being grateful, even though this is the worst day of your life. I think my opinion that it's okay to not be grateful sometimes comes from news, because literally the amount of living rooms I've sat in on someone's worst day of their life as they described what it's like to not know where their child is, or what it's like to have lost somebody they love, or the fear that they're going through, the trauma they're going through. So number one, okay, I'm not gonna shit on you. I'm not gonna say you should always be grateful all of the time. This is a human experience. We can honor this human experience by understanding that days are gonna be hard, days are gonna be easy, days are gonna be fun, days are gonna be traumatic, days are going to be really difficult to get through. So you may not have to be thankful all the time, but there is always something to be thankful for. And we know that gratitude changes everything. We know that it changes our mental state. I've talked a lot about that on the podcast, but it also changes us physically a lot. In fact, okay, I wrote up this list. Let's see if I can pull it up really quickly. So there's so much research on what gratitude can do for you. It can improve your immune function. It lowers your blood pressure. It improves your heart health. It helps us get better sleep. And of course, we can know it helps us with depression. It helps us with anxiety. One of my favorite studies, I've talked about this before on the podcast, so you might say, oh, I remember hearing this study. It was a study about gratitude and how it impacted the heart health. And so these researchers, they took all of these people, these participants who were dealing with some kind of risk of heart failure. And they asked these people to write 3 things for 8 weeks. And then there was, of course, the other group that didn't put gratitude into their daily practice. And what they found was the people who were writing down 3 things they were thankful for 8 weeks, they actually had an increase in their heart rate variability, which is how they measured a healthy heart in this study, in this case. So although I'm not going to tell you, you need to be grateful every single day. You need to be grateful on the worst day of your life. I do believe on the worst day of your life, there is something to be grateful for. And I do believe once you are ready to start feeling better, once you are ready to start pulling yourself out of that horrible feeling. And I've felt that being on the bottom of that, the bottom of the hole and just feeling like the light is so far away. But once you're ready to start climbing out, that's when to bring gratitude in your life. That's when to say, okay, I've lost this, but I am alive and I can be grateful that I'm alive. I can be grateful that I'm breathing on my own. I can be grateful that I can see. I can be grateful for oxygen. I can be grateful for clean drinking water. There's always something to be thankful for, even when it seems like you're at the very, very bottom of the pit and there seems like there's nothing to be grateful for. But it is up to you. It's up to you when you decide you want to start looking at what you're grateful for so you can start feeling better. That's up to you. So hope that makes sense. One of the stories that I think about when I think about gratitude is I have a friend who was just living a regular life, had a job, had a family, all the things, and said, I have nothing to be thankful for. I have nothing to be thankful for. And I think it was maybe 6 months, maybe it was 6 months later, maybe it was a year later, this particular person went through a divorce, and while feeling awful about, losing their partner and their children in this divorce, said, I have nothing. And then we reminded this friend that it was only a year ago when they used the exact same words to describe their life. I have nothing. So although at that time, they had more than they did now, but there was still more to be grateful for. There was still more to be grateful for in being a parent and having that opportunity and to have a job and to, again, like I said, the base level of things we can be grateful for, whether that's clean drinking water, clean oxygen. And I also always talk about thinking about the air here in Southern Oregon. If you're one of the listeners right now who lives in Southern Oregon, we lived almost this entire summer in thick fire smoke. We just had thick smoke, ash raining down on our cars. I mean, it was really, really terrible this whole summer. And I think last week we got some rain and it was clear blue skies, like real clear blue skies. I think I almost cried the first time I looked up and I saw the clear blue skies for the first time in my own town in 3 months. So what happens with these clear blue skies, I've talked about it before, is every summer here in Southern Oregon, we go through really bad fire season. We get this really thick smoke. And when the blue skies come back, we're like, oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you for the blue skies. And we're so thankful every day. And then by the time it gets to January, most of us are not thinking about clear blue skies anymore. Most of us are walking out of our house and just, taking for granted these clear blue skies that we have. Even though it was only maybe 3-4 months before that we were like praying for the clear blue skies. So it's very, very easy for us to take things for granted that we already have. And it really is just up to us when we want to decide that we want to feel better. We want to be grateful. There is always something to be grateful for. And I talked about the tragedy that we go through in the beginning of this episode. And I think it's much easier when you're on the other side of the deep, deep pain of a tragedy. When you're on the other side of that deep, deep pain, you can look back and you can say, oh my goodness, look at all those people who stepped up for me. Oh my goodness, this came together as it should. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I was blessed in this way, XYZ. And I think it's way easier to look back when you're a little bit removed from the deepest pain that you'll feel as part of that tragedy. And with that, I'm going to look at some of your guys' comments. So what do you guys think? Grateful all the time. After this presentation that I gave and after I answered this question with this very shocking, no, you don't, I'm not going to force you to be grateful all the time. No, I'm not going to shit on you and tell you should be grateful all the time. I had a couple of people say, really though? I don't know about this. Okay, let me, I saw some comments over here, so I'm going to find them. I like going live because then I can bring you guys onto the podcast and have you guys share your comments. Okay, Bully King on Instagram says, the only thing you should always be grateful for is waking up to live another day. Always something to be grateful for. Always the fact that you are alive and you survived that terrible day that you went through is a blessing that we get to be alive another day. That is a blessing that's denied to many. I mean, every human that has ever passed away has been denied that privilege. Okay. Collecting Confidence podcast says, I suspect it is a glass half empty or half full approach mindset. Okay. I love that. Okay. We also have Collecting Confidence podcast. Grateful. I could have died at 18. Every day is a victory lap. Oh my goodness. I love that. Every day is a victory lap. Absolutely true. Sherry Rambo said, I learned after losing my son that no matter what, he is always with me, that I will continue his legacy. That is so beautiful, Sherry. I think that in a lot of times of loss, especially what I've learned as a journalist and talking to people who have gone through these terrible losses, is the gratitude to be able to be here and do exactly that you do, Sherry, for your son, is continuing his legacy, continuing the legacy, and speaking your child or your friend or your relative's name regularly. Yeah, I think that is such an incredible thing to be grateful for, continuing that legacy. With that, I love talking to you guys live. I think I might do this more often. It's just kind of fun to hop on here and do a live episode with you. And I want to thank you guys so much for being here on the Happiness in Progress podcast. Of course, you guys can continue the conversation in my DMs. Just head on over there and we can chat.